Hey everyone, welcome to India Explained. Today, we're going to tackle a big one, something that sounds super complicated, but trust me, it's really not. We're talking about how to invest in your very first mutual fund. All right, before we jump in, you know the drill. If you find this chat helpful, just take a second to hit that like button and definitely subscribe to India Explained. It helps us out a ton. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, look, I gotta ask you this. My parents, right? They're always telling me, just put your money in an FD or buy some property, it's safe. But honestly, when I look at my savings, it's just, sitting there. It's barely growing at all. It feels like I'm actually going backward. So seriously, where do I even begin with all this? Man, that is the perfect question. And seriously, you're not the only one feeling this way. It's what everyone goes through. Look, your parents' advice, it comes from a really good place, right? But there's this huge invisible monster that's quietly eating away at that safe money. Finance guide, and that monster, it's called inflation. So think about it like this. On average, prices in India go up by about 7.4% every year. Now, if your FD is giving you, say, 6% interest, you're actually losing money. Your savings are losing their buying power year after year. You're basically getting poorer, but in the safest way possible. Okay, so check this out. This chart shows you the solution, plain and simple. Let's say you invested 1,000 rupees 45 years ago. In gold, it would have grown to about 76,000 rupees, which, isn't bad. But that same 1,000 rupees in the stock market, in equity, it would have grown to over 5 lakh rupees. The difference is just massive. So the big takeaway here is if you really want to build wealth for the long run, you've got to have that growth engine that only equity can really give you. Okay, I get it. Equity is the answer. But then you hear this term, mutual fund, and my brain just shuts down. It sounds so complicated. I mean, aren't there like thousands and thousands of stocks out there? How on earth am I supposed to figure out which ones to buy? It's too much. Totally get that. It feels like a messy, cluttered room, right? But stick with me. We're going to clear that clutter right now and give you some real clarity. It's actually way, way simpler than you think. Okay, here's the best way to think about it. Imagine the stock market is this huge, giant wedding buffet, right? There are over 5,000 dishes to choose from. You can't possibly know which one is the best. So what's a mutual fund? Well, the fund manager is like a professional chef. He goes to that buffet for you, tastes everything, and picks out the best 50 or 100 dishes to put on your plate. You get a perfectly curated, balanced meal without any of the stress or the guesswork. That analogy actually helps a lot. But, Yad, what about a market crash? That's my biggest fear. I see the news, the Sensex is up, the next day it's down, it's all over the place. What if I put my money in and then everything just tanks? I'm terrified I'll lose everything I've worked for. And you've just hit on the number one thing that stops people from investing, that fear. So let's tackle it head on. Let's talk about what the biggest risk in investing really is. And here's a little spoiler for you. It's probably not what you're thinking. This quote says it all, really. The real enemy isn't the market going up and down. That's normal. The real enemy is the investor who gets scared and pulls their money out at the worst possible time. When you sell in a panic, you're turning a temporary dip on your screen into a very real, permanent loss in your bank account. So what we need is a complete mindset shift. We need to stop being the worried investor who's glued to their phone, checking their portfolio value every 5 minutes. Instead, we need to be like a smart farmer. I mean, think about it. Does a farmer go out and check the market price of his land every single day? No. He focuses on planting good seeds and trusts the long-term process. He knows there will be sunny days and rainy days, but he's in it for the harvest. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Be the farmer, not the worrier. I get it, but is there a way to start that's, a little less scary? Like, is there an investing starter pack or something? Something that won't give me a mini heart attack the first time the market has a bad week? Yes, absolutely there is. And that's the perfect way to put it, a starter pack. So let's talk about the perfect fund that acts just like that. Think of it as your investing training wheels. So, this special kind of fund is called a Balanced Advantage Fund, or BAF for short. Now, what makes it special is that it's a hybrid fund. It mixes the high growth potential of stocks with the stability of something safer, like debt. That debt part acts like a cushion or a shock absorber for your investment. That's exactly why it's the perfect training wheels fund. You get to feel what it's like to be in the market, but the bumps and falls are much, much softer. And look, This isn't just a nice idea. The numbers back it up completely. Just look at the data from the market dip in 2022. The more aggressive funds, they fell by about 11 or 12%. But the balanced advantage funds from the very same companies, they only dropped about 4 to 6%. And that difference is everything for a beginner. A 6% fall is something you can learn from. A 12% fall, that's the kind of thing that makes you panic and quit forever. That's the real magic of these funds.
Wow, okay. That's a massive difference. That sells it for me. A balanced advantage fund sounds perfect. But how do I actually, do it? Like, what are the steps? And do I need a whole bunch of money saved up to start?
Great questions. And the answer to the second one is not at all. You really don't. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Let's lay out a super simple plan with the exact first steps you can take, like today.
Finance guide. So the tool you're going to use is something called an SIP, which stands for Systematic Investment Plan. It's simple. Instead of needing a big chunk of cash to invest all at once, an SIP lets you invest a small, fixed amount every single month. It's basically like an automatic transfer, and you can get started with as little as 500 rupees a month. That's it.
And the great thing about an SIP is that it puts your good habits on autopilot. First, it builds discipline. Second, it lets you benefit from compounding. And maybe most importantly, it takes away all the stress of trying to time the market. Because you're investing the same amount every month, you automatically buy more when prices are cheap and less when they're expensive. It's just a smarter, stress-free way to do it. So let's put it all together. Here is your simple 3-step plan to get started. Step 1. Start a monthly SIP with whatever amount you're comfortable with. Step 2. Pick a good, moderate, balanced advantage fund. And step 3, and this is honestly the most important part, your only real job is to stay invested and survive your first market fall without freaking out. That's your first big win as an investor. Wait a second. So you're telling me that the whole point of my first fund isn't to chase the highest possible returns? It's actually to pick a fund that helps me learn how to behave? To become a better, calmer investor for the long run? You've absolutely nailed it. That is the number one lesson. The perfect first fund isn't about maximizing returns. It's about maximizing your chances of staying in the game and building the right mindset, because the perfect start is one that's perfectly imperfect. Finance guide. So I really hope this chat helped make things a bit clearer for all of you watching. If you enjoyed this simple explainer, make sure you subscribe to India Explained for more just like it. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the next one.